back. Seconds. Felton for three. With 1.3 to go.
What's up and welcome to the Believe in Hornets podcast on the Believe Podcast Network presented by Bet Online. My name is Sam Dracula. With me is Raymond Felton. Raymond, how you doing?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. It's a cold and rainy morning here in Charlotte, which sucks, but knowing Charlotte, it's not gonna last for too long, right? Kind of like this season, you know what I mean? The weather's very indicative of how the Hornets are playing right now. Officially, the worst team in the league, record-wise, the Charlotte Hornets, falling to number 30th, to the 30th spot in the league after losing to the Pistons last night. We're recording this Thursday morning after that game. You're going to hear from Steve Clifford, some of his post-game audio later in this podcast. LaMelo Ball's back, so that's good. That's cool. You know, it's not all bad. Got LaMelo back in the mix. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. Kemba Walker making his debut with the Dallas Mavericks. And the NBA has some new names for some awards. So we're going to talk about all that in this episode. But we're going to take a quick break first, and then we'll get into it right after that. The NBA season is rolling on, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup information, player news, game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all your sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events, whether that's football, basketball, hockey, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, BELIEVE, to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, before we get into the basketball on the court stuff, it'd be remiss to not acknowledge Paul Silas's passing. He passed away December 10th. Champion with the Celtics and the Sonics, head coach of the Clippers, Hornets, and Bobcats and Cavaliers. You know, the Charlotte Hornets had a moment of silence for him leading into last night's game. They're wearing a patch in his honor. What are your thoughts on Paul Silas?
When you think of Charlotte Hornets basketball, you think of Paul Silas. I mean, he's just one of those icon coaches that, you know, I knew about coming into the game, you know, before I even got drafted, and just, you know, coming across him, you know, when I was in the league, and, you know, having even conversations with him once he kind of backed away from coaching. You know, he was always at our games in Charlotte. So just to see him around and just have small talk with him, you know, it wasn't really a lot of talking. It wasn't he's never coached me, but just his presence, you know what I'm saying, was felt. It was everything. So losing an icon like that, man, is it's always tough, you know. But you know, shout out to his not shout out, but, you know, my condolences goes to his family, and I hope hope everybody's okay. Sending prayers to you, to guys who, you know, played for him. You know, I know it's something that's everybody's dealing with. You know, I know his son and coach of Phoenix, can't think of his name right now.
Houston?
Got a brain fart. Yeah.
Steven Silas.
Well, no, I'm talking about, I know him. I'm talking about him and the coach for Phoenix. They had a moment. They had a moment together. Monty, yeah. They had a moment after the game, after they played each other. Once he came back for his first game after missing maybe 1 or 2 games, you know, because, you know, he had to go be with his family and attend the funeral. So they had a moment, you know, because Monty had a situation like that. He lost his wife, you know. So I don't know, man. Life can be tough sometimes, man. Sometimes you can be in situations you can lose someone, and you know, you try to put it behind you, you try to deal with it, but, you know, some other people deal with it differently. So my condolences to him. Paul Silas was a great coach. He was a great man. He was well respected. You know, I'm not sure if he was in the Hall of Fame or not, but he damn sure should have been. So hopefully, you know, that will something that happens in the future. If it hasn't already happened yet, I don't know. But he's definitely an icon, man, to me, and I'm pretty sure to everybody else in this game.
Oh yeah, handpicked to be LeBron's first coach, like for a reason, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he was that guy. He was that guy for sure. So, and he will be missed. And Steven Silas is able to carry on his legacy as a head coach for that Rockets team, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, rest in peace, Paul Silas for sure. And the Hornets, I think, are going to continue to wear the patch. I think it's on the warm-ups the rest of the season. And they had several tributes to him throughout the night last night as well, which is good to see.
That's dope.
Okay, so we're gonna make a pivot to basketball here. Charlotte, 7-21, 14th in the Eastern Conference, 30th in the league. Officially the worst team in the league record-wise. The seasons we're over the third mark. 34% of the season is completed. Hornets on a 6-game losing streak, and they just lost to Detroit, who were the other worst team in the league. So that's cool. For folks, for the tanking folks, it's a step in that direction for sure. But again, with the lottery odds, it doesn't really matter, right? Because the bottom 3 teams, just remember everybody, the bottom three teams have the same odds at the first pick at Wembanyama, right? So it's tough. It's tough. But LaMelo Ball is back. This is his second return this season after re-injuring his ankle. So just to recap, LaMelo missed the first 13 games of the season after getting hurt in preseason. He came back in Miami, and according to him, he came back before he was ready. Dennis Smith Jr. got hurt the previous game, and LaMelo's first 2 games back, the shot wasn't there. He shot 35% and 32% his first 2 games back. The third game, he was money, 59%, and then he got hurt again. So seeing the stories about he'd be returning last night had me thinking, okay, are we gonna go back to where he was in the first 2 games, or is he gonna pick up where he left off? And he picked up where he left off. To his credit, he shot the ball very well last night, until he fouled out, which is unfortunate. It's an issue. That's an overarching issue he's dealt with last year and continuing on to this year, even though this is his 4th game of the season. But how important is this return for the Hornets?
You got your you got your leader, you got your point guard, you got your franchise player, you got the engine to your car. So it's hard to say, man. Charlotte is a team that plays hard. They are in games when you watch them play. They just seem to not be able to pull it out or seem not to be able to, figure things out when it gets to the fourth quarter. And I think that's missing key guys. So, them tanking, if they don't get guys back, they gonna fall in that category, because you can't get too far behind,
Because
being the worst team right now, you in a foxhole right now. Now fighting out of it's gonna take a lot. And fighting out of it, could cause guys to go back into injury.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a lot of guys playing a lot of minutes, and bodies can get worn down like that, and sometimes that's what causes injuries. But definitely, I think if you get some of these guys back, these key defenders you got, these key scorers, these key guys who can, known to get you buckets when the game is on the line, I think will really help with the help of some of these guys getting, like you say, big time minutes here lately and getting that experience. So that could also make them a dangerous team. So I know, man, I just really want to see them get healthy sometime soon within the next month, and then take a shot at it, see what happens. I've seen some of the crazy things happen. I've seen some teams be at the bottom of the pole, and then all of a sudden, here they go. Now they're in a chance in the play-in, and I've seen the wildest things happen. So,
yeah, look at the Pelicans last year. Pelicans this time last year were one of the worst teams in the league. And they turned around, got in the play-in, and did a madness. So, and now look where they are now, right? So, and that's just not even a Hornets thing. Any team that's struggling right now in recent history, you just look to last year, December last year, even the Celtics to a different degree, where they were really struggling, and then January came along defensively. They were locked in, and they became one of the best teams in the league just out of nowhere. So You can turn things around pretty quickly in the NBA if
Yeah.
you fix your mistakes.
You can have one, like you say, you can have one good month, and just like that, you know what I'm saying? Like you can have a crazy month. Like look at the Pelicans. You know, they don't win 11 out of 12. I don't know last time they was number one in the Western Conference. You know, so even when they had Boogie and Anthony Davis, I don't even think they hit number one back then. When they had a good team with Drew Holiday, Rondo, you know what I'm saying? When they had a good team with that team. So I don't know, man. It's all about just guys gelling. I think they like Coach Clifford. You know, I think they play hard for him. You know, I think he has them prepared to play. You know, I've looked at some of these games and I'm like, man, oof, Charlotte finna get beat tonight. Then you look at the game and then it's like, whoa, you know, Charlotte winning. You know, going into the fourth quarter, Charlotte beating this team. You know, and they've won some games. You know, they've won a lot, obviously, but you know, they've won some games that you thought they should have lost. And then they've been in pretty much most of their games. They've been in them. You know, you look at a tough team like the Clippers come in there, you know, pretty healthy, Kawhi playing, PG playing, and, you know, they got to hit a game winner to pretty much beat Charlotte. So these guys are capable of playing against top teams. They just got to get healthy, man. It's so tough, and I hate it for them. You know what I'm saying? Charlotte is like the hometown team for me. You know, even though I grew up in South Carolina, but, you know, I got a lot of family connections with North Carolina, period, you know, just from being a Tar Heel and, you know, playing in Charlotte my first 5 years. Like, I felt like, you know, that's home to me. So, you know, it's tough to see because they got a good young team. And, man, go get Miles Bridges, man. Stop playing, man. Go get this man. Yeah. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm sorry.
It's all good, all good. I was gonna say, so with LaMelo, you know, the Hornets had 0 turnovers in the first half, right? Like even like the way that game was going, you think, okay, maybe the Hornets are biting themselves in the foot, but they were taking care of the basketball, and it took, I think, a travel in the third quarter and a couple bad screens to get turnovers on the board. Like they were taking care of the basketball, and I think a lot of that has to do with LaMelo being back in the mix. Like they have an actual pass first guard back. No disrespect to Maladon or Rozier, but that's not really like, you know what I mean? Like it's a different animal there in the backcourt with LaMelo in the mix. But man, to your point with the Clippers, like the Clipper game is probably like going to be one of those games that going to kind of signify is the word, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word. Exemplify. I don't know. It's early in the morning for me. It's gonna be one of those examples you look back to, kind of how the season is defined. Because if they get a rebound, the game is over, right? The Hornets win it, and there's those types of moments in all these games where they lose like those 50-50s, where they give up, they concede an offensive rebound, and the other team gets a putback. Isaiah Stewart had one of those last night. Got the rebound, kicked it over Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes got a second chance at the same spot on the floor. He missed the corner three. Isaiah Stewart gets the rebound, gets it right back to Hayes, and Hayes hits a three on the second opportunity. It's like, oh man, like you get the one stop, getting that second stop in the same possession is tough, right? Especially with how the team has been playing defensively, where they finally get a stop and try to do it again. It's not, as this hasn't been happening for the Hornets, and those buckets just. He's giving up those buckets, man. Alec Burke come in overtime, gets 5 straight points. So he's doing whatever he wants out there. Him and Bogdanovich and Hayes and Stewart just doing the most for a team that just lost Cade Cunningham, right? He's out for the season, which sucks. Like tanking or no taking, not having Cade Cunningham in the league is a bummer. Because he's the guy I was very much looking forward to watching against this Hornets team before he got shut down. So hope he gets what he needs done and he can see him return next season better than ever, because it's a second major injury for him in 2 years. So hopefully that stuff doesn't become a trend for Cade Cunningham.
Right. I like Cade too. He can play.
No, he's legit, and he's like the perfect kind of guy for this new NBA we're seeing right now. This absolute matchup nightmare. But LaMelo is back, so we'll see what happens with him. He did play 34 minutes last night, I believe. Yeah, 34 minutes and 6 seconds before he fouled out. And I mentioned the foul out because he would have played a lot more in the fourth quarter. He might have cracked 40 minutes or something like that by the time the game was over. But so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he goes on. I want to play you some game post game audio from Steve Clifford. His thoughts. It's a short clip. It's like 2 minutes. It's under 2 minutes. I think it's 1:40. He came in, took no questions from the media, talked for 1:40 and dipped out. So here's Steve Clifford, courtesy of Bally Sports and the Hornets.
I have to ask questions until we care about something besides how many points we score. We're not going to win much. Can't play like that. I mean, we scored. Our offense was good. That's 5 out of the last 7 games. We've been pretty good on offense. We are playing no defense, not one guy. There's not a bright spot. We don't run back on defense. We don't guard the ball. Our pick and roll stuff, all stuff that was good. I think we were as high as like 12th or 13th in defense about 10 games ago. And we're right back to where we started, ground zero, where all we want to be is let's try to outscore the other teams. Doesn't work in the NBA unless you're, well, actually it never works, okay? So what I just told them, this is either you build a game that will actually work at the end of the year when you play the important games, or you don't. That's it. That's what the NBA is all about, okay? It's not that we don't have the talent to do it. All we care about is scoring. That's it. And if you're going to try to play like that, you better have like 5 all-stars. We don't have that kind of talent. So it's not something that will work. We're either going to decide to get back to playing with a defensive effort. It's not that we're not trying to win. It's we go about it all wrong. Okay? I mean, watch team after team, right? There's always a team every year that they get there, and what happens? They get drilled because they don't have a game. They don't have the right kind of game. You can't just outscore people in the NBA. You can't. You can't. And you can't decide that you're not going to do the things that take effort, like rebounding or getting loose balls or putting your body in front of the ball. You can't. It just doesn't work that way. And that's what we're trying to do right now. All right?
All right, so Raymond, a lot of frustration in his voice. He spoke pretty calmly, given the circumstances, the heat of the moment. I assume he wasn't very calm in the locker room. But what are your thoughts on Steve Clifford's comments there?
I think he hit it right on the head. I mean, these young guys want to score the basketball. They think it's about scoring. They think they can, shoot threes all the time and not be old school and play defense. Defense is what wins games. If you look at the top teams right now, they are top 5, top 10 in all categories, including defense. And you got to play defense to win games. And if you don't do that, like he said, you can't score, just score. I score people in this league, and you don't have the personnel for that. Not saying they're not good, and that's not what Coach Clifford was saying. He's not saying that I don't have a good enough team. I have a good enough team, but we have to play a certain way in order for us to be successful. We got to play defense. We can score the ball. Our offense, there's nothing wrong with our offense. It's our defense. So, if they took that in the wrong way, then these young kids is just not getting it. And some of these older guys need to step up and have a team meeting, players only, and make that understood to each other. And I don't know. I mean, I think what he said is spot on. And I get it. As a young guy, you want your contract, you want your money. You feel like you got to put up numbers to do that. But let me tell you something. Y'all kids' contracts is a whole lot different than what it was back in the day when we was playing. You can average 10 points and get $80 million now. So it's all about winning. It's all about, is your team winning? One, are you being productive when you're on the court? Are you changing the game? Are you doing something to impact the game? Like, it ain't about you scoring 15, 20, 30, 20-some points now in order for you to get the bag. That's what they call it, if you're going to get the bag. So you got to be successful. Your team got to be successful. So y'all young boys better figure that out. It's a totally different game now. You don't got to put up all these numbers, but your team do got to win. You do got to be successful. And I promise you, you'll get your money. Look at Duncan Robinson. He's playing on a team in Miami who's been pretty successful over the last 4 or 5 years. They're pretty consistent on, they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to play defense. They're going to play a certain way. They got a culture. So they take care of their guys. You know, you look at Duncan Robinson she signed for $95 million. You know, just saying. You know, no knock to him. He's just a shooter, and you know he try to play hard. You know, he ain't the best defender, but he tries and he does his job. So that got him $95 million. So put that into perspective for them young boys down there in Charlotte. Do your job, play defense, play your role, play hard, and I promise you, somebody will give you some money. Somebody.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Somebody. So you know, man, like. I mean, you got to do that to fire up the team. Coach Clifford got to be a coach. Mm-hmm. You know, if he doesn't say nothing night in, night out, you know, he get find himself in a situation like before. You know, they gonna be like, all right, well, we got to find another coach to come in. You know, sometimes it ain't the coach, man. Sometimes these damn players got to, got to look themselves in the mirror and say, man, what can we do better? You know, I feel like y'all got a great coach who's trying to teach y'all how to play on both ends. And that's something that's missing in this game. So, you know, shout out to Coach Clifford, man, for the way he handled that and, you know, and also keeping it in-house. He said what he said, and he walked away from the podium. Yeah. I ain't taking no questions. I don't need nothing else said outside of that. I said what I said. I said this to my team, and I'm going to say this to y'all, and I'm done. That's it. No questions.
I love it.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Like,
I get major, like, football coach vibes from Steve Clifford. I love Clifford, man. I know he wasn't the first choice for Charlotte, but I'm glad he's with this team because, like, the alternative I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I think how the offseason went, I think Clifford is doing a good enough job given all the things thrown at him thus far, and I think he's handling it pretty well. I don't know how well he's sleeping at night. You know what I mean? Like, it may be stressful as hell, but I think he's handling it pretty well.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you know he's coming to a team that's like was going up. It was going upward.
Yeah, they had a winning record last year.
And then you lose one of your key players.
Yep.
You know, in an unfortunate situation, you lose one of your key players. Now that's a hit. Now you got to figure out who's going to step up and fill that void. Who's going to step up, and you know, there's nobody being consistent in that position. Mm-hmm. You know, not no consistency in that position. I love PJ, but PJ Washington one game will give you 20-something and 12 or, you know, have a big game. And then next game you look at the score and he got 8 points and, you know, 6 rebounds.
Yep.
You know, he hasn't been consistent. You know, he's been good for Charlotte. And I think he is a young kid that they should keep. I think PJ is somebody they should sign back and keep as the future of the team with these young guys. But, you know, losing Miles was big, man. You know, him and Melo and I think Terry, all those guys had just had that camaraderie with each other.
Great chemistry together.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So like losing him was it was a hit. Then you lose on the twin, you lose him.
Martin, yeah.
Like you lose him, who's your defender, who's your all-purpose guy. Like he plays hard, he's your slasher, he can hit an open three, he plays defense, he's gonna guard the best player on the team. Like, you know, it's just you're dealing with a lot. Yeah. You're dealing with a lot, man. Now you're putting other guys in roles that they don't usually have. And you know, now they out here like, oh, I'm a starter now, so I'm gonna show that I can be a starter. And now they're trying to just put up buckets. They're trying to just score and think that's what it is. And it's like, no. That's not what we need you to do. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know, man. You can hear the frustration, but at the same time, he ain't let you see it. That's what I love about old school coaches. You know they mad. You know they frustrated. You know he just left out of that locker room and just gave them hell. Yes. You know what I'm saying? But then he came in calm, said what he said, and walked off. That's just a great coach, man. I love Clifford.
Yeah, man. And so the Hornets will be right. They're playing again Friday. They're hosting the Atlanta Hawks. And so we'll see. We'll see how the team responds. It's going to be a hard game once again. And we'll see if there's any personnel changes. You know, if after that talk, if we don't see any changes here soon, I assume we may see some guys dropped or role shift if they're not getting the results that Clifford wants, you know. So we'll see how that plays out. Because this we can look. I think this game we can look back on in a couple of weeks and seeing, okay, from this point on, how this team respond, because there has to be a lot of pride at stake too. Like had a chance to not be the worst team in the league, and now they have to hold that. They're holding that on their foreheads right now, right? The 7-win team is tough. So we'll see how they respond. And they have this home game, and then they go Denver, Kings, Clippers, Lakers, Blazers, Warriors. That's their December after this Friday game. So they got now is not the time to be losing to the Pistons. You know what I mean? It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough road trip out there. So we'll see how they respond. We'll see. I want to talk to you about Kemba real quick. He made his debut last weekend. Played 19 minutes against Chicago. What do you think of Kemba's first game with the Mavericks?
I think it was good, man. Somebody who hasn't played in a while, and dealing with the injury that he was dealing with. He looked good out there. It was good to see him out there on that court. It was a bad loss for the team, but it was good and positive to see him out there. And I think, in the future, Dallas is gonna, definitely use him. As somebody that they need, the guy who's a playmaker who can get his own shot, who can get other people, easy shots, and just another guy that can fill that void of them losing, Brunson last year. Using Brunson this year. So, I don't know, man. Kemba, it's personal because he's a friend. Like I said, it's just good to see him out there. I'm happy to see him out there. Hopefully in the future I see him get more minutes because I currently live in Dallas right now. So I would definitely be at the arena a lot to see my guy play. But I don't know, man. Dallas is struggling right now. They're on a 2-game losing streak right now. I think at some point, J Kidd is gonna try something different, and I think it's going to be involving Kemba. Maybe getting some more minutes and see what can change. And I think if you're able to get a snippet of the old Kemba, then you got something. Kemba was, a lot of people don't remember, was a starter as an all-star.
Yep.
So, if you're a starter as an all-star, that means you're a bona fide bucket, you're a bona fide scorer. And I know everybody in Charlotte, know this guy very well. So just to see him get back to, half of that, will definitely help this Dallas team. They don't need him to be that guy, but they need him to be half of that, for what they need. And I think that'll be enough. And that'll be enough for him, to keep him healthy so he don't have to do as much as he did in Charlotte, but just do enough, to help, help Luka out, just and do some things. But yeah, shout out to Kemba, man, being back and, getting out there on that court and, having a decent game for not being on the court for a very long time. So, I know the fans in Charlotte's going to be keeping up with that, as time goes on, to see if he's going to continue to get more minutes or if he's going to get more minutes. So see what happens.
Yeah, no doubt. So, yeah, something to keep an eye on when the Hornets aren't playing, or at least something positive to look out for if you're a Hornets fan. Root for Kemba because they're 14-14 right now, the Mavericks. And, they have a real chance to be a playoff team, unlike a certain team in North Carolina. Moving on, though. Last thing I want to close out with is the NBA announced names for some big awards. League MVP is going to be the Michael Jordan Trophy. Defensive Player of the Year, Hakeem Olajuwon Trophy. Rookie of the Year, Wilt Chamberlain Trophy. They're naming the Sixth Man after John Havlicek, Most Improved after George Mikan, and they're introducing the Clutch Player of the Year, naming that after Jerry West. This comes off of them naming the Western Conference Finals MVP after Magic Johnson and the Eastern Conference Finals MVP after Larry Bird last year. So what do you think of these like rebrands, I guess, for these awards?
I think it's good for the NBA. I think it's good for the culture. Basically giving homage to all the guys who built what we have to this day. Because the game wouldn't be without all those names you just named. I mean, all those guys are icons of the game. So, I think it's rightfully so, to name these awards and, give homage to them. They're the reason, they're the reason why these contracts and a lot of these things that's going on now is as high and the way it is, the fan base, just everything. I think basketball now is the number one sport in the game. If I'm not mistaken, globally is the number one sport. I could be wrong, but I know at one point it was.
It may be soccer, but basketball is probably close second, or football.
Okay.
Excuse me, my bad. That's World Cup.
I know football. I know football was. I know football was number one, and I thought we had surpassed them over the years. Saying that basketball was the number one sport, but I could be wrong. I could be biased as well too.
Yeah. When I say football, I mean like global football.
Oh, you're talking about soccer? Okay.
Yeah.
We call it soccer. Everybody else call it football. But yeah. But soccer is definitely the world sport nowadays, man. Yeah. And you see more and more kids who are starting to play it, including my 7-year-old daughter who loves soccer. So, it's definitely a sport that's grown in the American eyes now. But yeah, man, anyway, to get back to the awards, I think it's something big. I think it's something great. And shout out to Adam Silver, for to continue to grow this amazing brand. I think he's been great. I think he's done an amazing job as a commissioner. Nothing is perfect. Nobody's perfect. I know some people can have a lot of negative things to say, but that man has a lot to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Got all these teams, all these egos, all these ego owners, all these ego players that you have to, micromanage year in, year out. So man, shout out to him, man, for just keep evolving his game and making it better and growing it and making it even more global. Just taking it everywhere. We got games in Dubai now. I wish that would have happened when I was in the league. I wanted to go to Dubai. Yeah. So we got games everywhere, man. So NBA's in Africa now, China. The NBA is in every possible country you can think about, man. And that's amazing. From where it started, from where it was when you talk about some of these names, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, and these guys play over there. None of this stuff was going on when they was in the game. So look how far the game has grown.
The games
man.
weren't televised when Wilt Chamberlain was around.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, come on, man. So look how far the game has grown, and he's just doing a great job to acknowledge that, by naming these awards after these guys, letting them know, look, we know where we at today is because of y'all, for what y'all built. For what y'all went through, not making the type of money and not getting as much publicity as far as television and all of that. These guys, man, just paved the way for all of us, man. So, I give homage to them. I give thanks to them. And it's just good to see that, these awards and stuff is starting to come out now. And they, Adam Silver is just doing a great job, man. Shout out to Adam Silver for that. So, yeah, that's my spin on it.
I think I forgot to mention Kobe. They named the All-Star Game MVP award after Kobe. So I'm curious, how far they go with it. As far as there's nothing named after Kareem yet, right? So there are other legends that I'm sure they'll find a place for in some form or fashion, right?
I mean, I think it's gonna be more awards come out. It's gonna be
like scoring champ. They could name that the Kareem Award, something like that. They could fix something.
Scoring champ. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Whoever the scoring champ is, give an award for that, and that could be Kareem. Give out. You got the big man of the year. That could be an award one day. Point guard of the year could be an award. You know what I'm saying? It's so many awards that you can just start playing with, man, to make, and make these award ceremonies a whole lot more. You can start having a ceremony.
Yeah.
Now,
bring back the NBA awards. I think COVID pretty much
they do the ESPYs, the ESPYs, do a big award for, just the NBA period. It could be so big. How many people will come out for that? It could be something crazy, I might be coming up with something that I'm giving away here on this podcast. Nah, let me stop.
But yeah, it's cool. And I think it speaks to how how the league is very much in touch with the history, which is always nice because, like you mentioned, these guys paved the way for the game today. And going back to how the game has expanded, like the fact that you have all these foreign-born players doing what they're doing now is just like arguably the Embiid, Giannis, Luka, Jokic are like arguably the 4 best players in the league, and all were born outside the United States. And I think that speaks to how far this game has grown and how quickly it's grown. Only 75 years old. So what's this league going to be like in 100 years? Like,
man.
And we're seeing it with Wembanyama. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like he's going to come over here.
And let me say this before we walk away from this podcast today. The world is talking about how you say his name again? Wembanyama?
Oh, Wembanyama. You can call him Wemby for short. Yeah.
So Wembanyama. Everybody's talking about him. I'm gonna tell you something right now. You can go over to Orlando Magic and see Bobo, who does the same thing. So I'm gonna give a shout out to my man Bobo right now because everybody's talking about this kid, but ain't nobody talking about what this man doing at 7'1", 7'2", however tall he is, putting the ball on the fourth. Like he did a move last night, man. Went behind his back, spit off the guy, got all the way to the basket and dunked. Like this kid handles the ball like he's a point guard too. Can shoot the three. Can do everything. Block shots, rebound, post up. Like, look, we talking about somebody else coming out of high school when we got one already in his NBA. He just haven't gotten his shot, but he's getting it now in Orlando, and he's doing it. He's doing these things night in, night out. Watch Orlando Magic, and you seeing that already. Everybody's talking about we've never seen this before. You seeing it right now in the NBA. My man Bobo is doing it. Give my man some love, man. I'm trying to get my man Bobo some love right now, man. Give my man some love, man.
No,
give my man some love.
He deserves
Oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying?
And listen, there's a scenario where Wembanyama gets drafted by the Magic too, and having both them boys out there, like, like the Magic are 9-20, like they're very much in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. So there's a scenario where they get that pick. and take him, add him to Paolo. Like that front court would be nuts.
Man, listen.
That's not fair.
And you know what's crazy, man? They so stacked over there. They still got Wendell Carter.
Yeah, Franz Wagner.
Who's been hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they still got him. They still got
whenever Isaac gets back, you know, like,
they got that's what I'm saying. Isaac.
They got boys.
They got what's his name?
They got Suggs and Cole Anthony.
Mobamba. They still got Mobamba. They got so much length and size. It is crazy. All on one team. What you gonna do with all that? And it was crazy that you can play some of these guys at the guard spot.
Yep.
They play Franz Wagner at the point sometimes. And play he's like 6'9", 6'10".
Yep. No,
they play him at the point. That's crazy.
Plus, I think they're gonna have the most cap space in the league next summer as well. So they can really do, if certain things go a certain way, they can really do a madness. Talking about bringing it full circle, look what the Pelicans did and how they changed their franchise around in like less than a year. The Magic are prime contenders to be one of those teams with the talent they have currently, the flexibility they have. I think they still have, one, maybe two extra picks from the Vucevic deal a couple years ago. So they can make a leap. They could make a leap, Orlando. I know they're 9-20 now, but this time next year, it could be a completely different outlay for them in the Eastern Conference. But time will tell. Time will tell. But no, I think it's a good note to go out on. Just a reminder, the Hornets resume play this Friday in Charlotte, and then they're gone to the West Coast. Denver, Sacramento, Clippers, Lakers, Portland, and Warriors. That takes them through the December 27th, takes them through Christmas. So good luck, boys. It's gonna be a tough road trip. We'll see how it goes. But Raymond, I appreciate you as always for talking basketball with me. Everyone out there listening, I appreciate y'all as well. Make sure, if you made it this far into the podcast, tell a friend, share the podcast out, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. You know, we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Believe in Hornets podcast on the Believe Podcast Network, presented by Bet Online. Take care, stay safe, peace.